Howdy folks. It's been a while, I grant you. Andrew's been doing such a good job of putting bench stuff together and projects and all sorts, and I've had nothing to do really, so hence why you haven't seen me, which is probably no bad thing. But today, if it wasn't obvious, is about this little fellow. My SCX10, Axial SCX10 hard body Bronco. And I'm going to break this video up into 4 sections. So, why didn't I want one? And I'm going to put the actual sections together down in chapters to make this easier, if you should wish to skip to any one bit. So, why didn't I want one? And then that leads on to kind of filming scale video. Number 2, what is it like, and why have I changed my mind even before I found out what it was like? 3, portability, which is probably one of the biggest things, and I'll come on to that. We are going to have a look into the truck, and I'm going to take the body off and stuff like that. Number 4, upgrades. Well, this video is not going to be about all the technical specifications, what's on it, etc, etc. So if that's what you're looking for, go and have a look at someone else. It's not to be rude, but I don't want to waste your time. And there's lots of other people that could do that stuff kind of better than me. For me, I just want to talk about, or maybe aim this video at people that want to see this particular model with this shell on. They have maybe been thinking about one, although I'm probably the last one to get one, to be fair, because it's been a long time I've resisted this. And why have I kind of made this decision, and maybe why should you think about making this decision? So let's go onto the bench so you can get away with looking at my ugly mug. We can have a look at the truck and you know, go into a bit more detail. In fact, actually, before we do that, you might have to part with my ugly mug a little bit more while I give you some more of an explanation into the different chapters. So number 1, why didn't I want one? Well, I'm not going to say which little trucks, but I've had plenty of little trucks before, not quite this small, and they've just pissed me off pretty much. You know, drive out, I can't walk to any sites where I am. You know, I've got to drive, and you get there, load it all up, get the camera out of the bag, set it up on a tripod, etc. Let's get ready to go. It moves kind of 50 yards and it just snaps. And that's RTRs and stuff I built myself. And that just really does get on my nerves. I really don't like it. So I've tried and tried and tried and tried and tried, and I find it so frustrating that I've just given up. The ones that I've had, I kind of end up looking like good shelf queens or going on the back of my Cross RC MC6, which might give you a bit of a clue as to what type of truck it is. But again, don't want to get into that argument because some people love them, but I've had fairly bad experiences of them. My other issue is that I'm got a bit kind of fed up with filming around here because it's all just woods, you know, and thought it's quite hard to make 1/10 scales look interesting, you know, if you keep going to the same places. So I was worried about scale video with something, you know, this small. You put it in the woods, it's going to be really difficult. In actual fact, I got this so wrong. Yes, incredibly so. I've only been out once with it. I filmed it in my garden, but I've been out once. I'll put a link to the video up here or in the description to the one I did in the woods. And you can just film in places or on things that you wouldn't have thought possible. That you can't put a 1/10 because a 1/10 it just won't fit. But crawling along logs, going up little banks, this thing, if you've got to get the camera in close enough. And I'm not saying my video looks really scale at all, but you know, it's good enough. And it all of a sudden, from going from feeling a bit kind of fed up with RC and filming and, you know, just getting a bit disillusioned with it, it's actually turned, I bought one and it's turned my excitement, it's just ramped it up completely, and I am so excited. The other reason is I'm going to Butlins in Skegness in the UK, it's right on the beach, for holiday with my wife and my young daughter. And I thought, I want to take this on holiday. We'll take in a 1/10, you can't stick in a rucksack. But this, in the evening, when my little girl's asleep, my wife's maybe sitting there watching telly, having a glass of wine, I'm going to go out on the beach, take my camera, take some film, or anywhere I can just, there must be some stones, some rocks, you know, tiny little stones look like big rocks, whereas with the 10-2 we haven't got any rocks here. Bedfordshire and Hertfordshire. So this has just made me so excited, and it's ramped me up again for you know, the RC hobby. So I think that's a win, right? It's just, I didn't realise how good it would be, and how it would, you know, ramp me up and get me excited again. So much so that I think I'm going to buy another one, not the Bronco shell, but another version, and I'll come on to that about the upgrades, etc., in a moment. So I'm going to actually now let you get rid of this mug, and ugly mug I should say, and we'll go to the bench and have a quick look over it, and I will talk to you about section 2, what's it like, and why have I changed my mind. So let's have a quick look. You get fairly decent-ish, you know, it's an RTR, you get a fairly decent-ish radio with it. As I say, there'll be lots of other people that have done, you know, decent review unboxings and, you know, want to have taken you through everything that do it better than me. So there's no point me doing it, and you can find that elsewhere. So to pull off the shell, you just give it some welly, and it just flips up like all the other ones, I suppose. Not that I have had another one before, but you get a bit of Velcro in here that attaches to Velcro on top of the body. You get some lights on it, a little 2S, I think it's 2S LiPo. Yes, I believe it is. Yes, he says that. You see, this is why I'm not going into specifics about the video. I think it's a 2S LiPo. Anyway, look at this tiny little baby motor. I couldn't quite visualise how small. I mean, palm of my hand. I mean, it's just awesome. It's just so cool. But the finish in the body is really, really smart. Little, you know, interior in there in your driver, and it's awesome. Beautiful little thing. It really is pretty cool. What does it drive like? Well, I've never driven a truck as small as this, and if you go and check out the video, the link's in the description. It is roly-poly, of course it is. You know, it goes over real easy, but not as easy as I expected it to be. And again, this suspension, it looks like from here, it looks a bit, certainly not like my 10.2 with a hard body on it. But if you film it in the right way, you kind of have been filming it at 60 frames per second, slowing it down, it really doesn't look too bad at all. And the electronics in it, it's just got the standard electronics in it. In my opinion, Axial have absolutely, it's all combined in there, Axial have nailed it big style, big style. It's the slow speed control, especially downhill, is incredible. It's absolutely brilliant, and it has completely changed my opinion of certainly an Axial SCX24. People had said to me, you know, they're really good, buy one. I thought, not sure if it would work for me, but I am completely converted. I mean, I've run it a lot in the garden. I've only done a proper run with it just because I haven't had time, but that first run with it was fairly challenging, I'd say, and I loved it, which is the main thing, right? I'm absolutely in love with it. It's just kind of fired me up again, and I want to take it out some more. And I think Andrew and I are going to go out with his 1/18 as well. It's brilliant. It's really, really good. So that's why I've changed my mind. Having gone out and seen that if you're in an area where you're a little bit bored about going over the same things, the same routes, you can completely transform when you run this thing and how you take it. Put it in your rucksack. Really, really easy. No faff. Job done. I am, you know, completely over the moon. And this takes me on to item number 3. So item number 3, portability. Well, again, it's just, it's so small, that and the radio and the tiny little battery, I can take it on holiday. So yeah, I'm going to be taking it down to the beach. I'm going to be just going for a walk with it, and it means that you can, you know, just stop anywhere and put it on a little shelf somewhere. If you think, oh, that would be quite challenging, you know, you can drive over this, drive over that. Whereas the 110, you may not even be able to fit on that shelf, and you don't want to be carrying an SCX10 down the street particularly. It also means that when I'm filming and a dog walker comes along, because there's loads of people where I film, I can't get away from people, I can quickly whip it up and stick it in my bag or hide it behind my back and pretend I'm not a complete and utter pleb for filming a little, you know, that embarrassing feeling that I get about feeding a little toy truck. What is this 39-year-old man doing with something like this? It's easily hidden. So from that perspective, it opens, again, a whole new world of where you might take it. So I might take this to a town centre and run it, because you could do that quite easily, and it wouldn't really be a problem. I can also, I've just started to try and cycle again, try and get a little bit fitter and lose some weight. I can put it in my rucksack and go cycling with it. And I couldn't do that with the SCX10, so I could, you know, or any of my other rigs, to be honest. It portability-wise, brilliant, fantastic. So let's go on to number 4. Cut. Yes, number 4, upgrades. Money is a big thing. I mean, £135 in the UK, is that worth it? Seems a bit expensive, but really, for the enjoyment and smiles it's given me, no, I don't think it is, comparatively speaking, really. Because they really have set this up very well. And I'm loath to change this at the moment. Now, one thing that did draw me to this was that you can get lots of upgrades and you can get them cheap. But, you know, what would you upgrade? I suppose, I mean, electronics, I'm never touching them. They're brilliant. Tyres, because the tyres have got no foams in, they're proper squishy. The plastic wheels, they're glued on. Yeah, I think they're glued on. You know, the original shocks. You can get, you know, upgraded servos. You can get metal drive shafts, metal axles, as far as I'm aware. And you can get them all for cheap, which is a big thing for me. I've had a big guilt trip for a little while now about spending too much on RC, money I really haven't got, and that makes me feel a bit anxious and a bit stressed. So I have sold some rigs because it made me a bit depressed. And the thought about this is, I can upgrade it and buy, you know, 10 shocks or whatever it is for £10, and that's not really a big thing. But having driven it, I want to keep it stock for as long as I can until something breaks, really, and I have to replace it, which is why I'd almost like to buy 2, to sit there and upgrade one and leave the other as stock as I possibly can, just to compare, because there's a part of me that when I've had RTRs, and I've then obviously built my own kits, the RTRs all seem to run better than mine. And this is no exception. It runs smooth, it runs lovely. And how much time have Axial actually spent with people that can really drive crawlers, developing this and getting it really as good as it possibly can be? Will those upgrades definitely make it better? It's been a little bit like, I've been into motorcycling for years. The amount of people I've met that have said, oh, you know, I've got this sports bike or whatever, and I've changed this, I've changed that, I've changed this, I've changed that. And has it made a difference? They rave about it, so it maybe makes them feel better. And maybe if you feel better, you're a bit faster and more capable. But the manufacturers spend lots of times with really fast test riders on all sorts of walks of life, tracks, roads, whatever. And they have come up with a fairly base setting that works for everything. And generally, they're much better by far in terms of ability, feeling, skill than I ever will be. So, does it need changing? That's the kind of route I'm going down with this. Yes, I agree, it probably will make it better in certain ways, weight down low, but I tend to get a truck and just upgrade it when I'm building it straight off, and therefore I don't know what the differences are. So, I want to run this for as long as I can without upgrading it. And then maybe, as a thought, as like a long-term review, update, get another one, a different type, and upgrade them. Sure, they won't be the same weight, exactly the same body, but I'll just be interested to see if it seems to make it better or worse, or if I balls up the upgrades, more importantly. So, I hope that's helped you. I was completely wrong about these little tiny trucks. I'm in love with it for now. It hasn't peed me off yet. It may well do in time, you never know. I'm not sure how it's going to cope with the beach, getting sand in. I'm not going to bury it in the sand, but of course there's going to be a bit of salt and sand. So, you know, I've only given it one run. it could fall apart, but I don't think it will. But if it does, I can just change it, eat my words, and upgrade it, and not spend a lot of money, which is my chosen choice at the moment, to try and keep costs low if I can, and not spend money and get rid of that guilt and anxiety. Anyway, hope you found this video useful. For those people that were thinking about buying one, sitting on the fence. If you're sitting on the fence and you can actually afford it, and you're a bit bored about what you're running at the moment and where you can run, a bit kind of the inspiration's gone, excitement's gone, just buy one. Seriously, you will not regret it. Get one, you can do things with it in places that you wouldn't thought possible. So yeah, hope that's helped. Catch you soon, and yeah, sorry there hasn't been many bench videos for me. Things have been going on, I haven't got a lot to talk about. So Andrew's been holding the fort, he's doing a great job. So thanks for your support, everyone. Look after yourselves, be nice to each other, stay safe. Bye for now.